Welcome back into Cleveland Browns Daily on this Victory Monday edition, the Joe Thomas half hour of the program. Victory Monday sounds pretty dang good to us, Hoff. We've been celebrating already for the first hour and a half of this thing. Just getting a win on a Sunday feels pretty good from time to time, does it not, my friend?
There's no replacement, Bo, for getting a W because it doesn't matter what the conditions are, where you played, who you beat. Winning just feels good. And for at least one day or maybe 48 hours, it just cures all.
We'll take the week. We're going to take the week.
All right,
we'll take the week off.
We're going to
take the week.
Yeah. We're going to take the whole week just to enjoy it. We're winning until we're not. You know what I mean? We won this game. This was an interesting one, but it was finally some complimentary football. The defense getting the sacks and the takeaways, 4 takeaways, 1 on special teams as well. The offense getting back to just running it. And while it wasn't always pretty, they were able to pop a few big runs. Let's stay with that offense, that run game. What did you see there? Because, on one hand, you could say, well, Quinshon had 63 of his yards on 2 carries, which makes the other few carries not look quite so good. But that's kind of the ground game at times in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why you get a 4 or 5 yard average. Look at what Nick Chubb did over his career here, right? He had a 5 yard average, was historic for a long time when he was here. And it was because, you're efficient so you can continue running the ball. You're in close games so you can stick with the run game. But then you got to be able to bounce outside. You got to be able to hit some of those home run balls to be able to have that big average, to be over 100 yards. Because in the NFL, it's just too hard. Defenses are too good. Even the worst run defense in the NFL, like the Dolphins are, like they're not going to let you run for 5, 6, 7 yards all the way down the field. So you've got to be able to bust through and get some of those big runs. And especially for our team, which is struggling to push the ball down the field, throwing it, to have a guy like Quinshon starting to break out and hit some of those big home runs, it's so important for us to be able to make explosive plays to score points. The biggest problem, in my opinion, with the Browns and their lack of being able to get over 17 points was they weren't getting any explosive plays. And when you look at the NFL as a whole, maybe half of the touchdowns are those big explosive plays that go for 30 or more yards. Because once you do get into the red zone, it is hard. I mean, teams do have to settle for kicking field goals a lot because defenses in the NFL are very fast, very good. The windows are very tight when you get into the red zone. So sometimes the best option is score before you get into the red zone. Just score from the 50-yard line or the 40 or the other 40.
He's just such an engine for us, Quinshon is.
Oh, yeah.
It's just you're right. It's all on the 2 carries, but it's like you just keep getting, and then eventually the dam breaks, and then he puts it in the house. And one of the things people weren't sure about with him is could he get caught from behind? Does he have that breakaway speed? No, he's fine. He's more than fine there. He put it in the paint on it, and it's weird because he's a 2nd-round pick. He's the entire identity of this offense right now, Hoff.
Well, that is slightly concerning with your rookie 2nd-round pick being really all you have going on offense. But I think when we talked about the season in training camp, it was we've got a great defense and we're going to have to lean on the run game because we just knew that we weren't going to be able to be a 300-yard passing team every single week. We'd hope that we would maybe have some of them, but the fact that we don't have a big passel of great receivers that are going to be able to catch one-on-one balls like we saw on Thursday night when Flacco was throwing to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. That's just not how we are built right now, unfortunately. And so you have to lean on your offensive line and your run game. And when you've got a guy like Quinshon, who's able to wear down a defense that eventually is going to pop some big runs, like he becomes a huge weapon and he becomes who the defense is trying to stop. They game plan to stop a guy like that. And the hope then is that it'll open up some things for Dylan Gabriel to be able to hit in the passing game and maybe start feeling a little more comfortable pushing that ball in the middle down the field.
Yeah, Quinshon Judkins leads the NFL in rushes of more than 30 yards already this season. Through 7 weeks for an NFL rookie. Remember, he's only did it in 6 games because he did not play week 1. There's never been a rookie that's had more than 4 runs of 30 yards through 7 weeks. Here's the list of people that have had 4. I think it's a pretty good list, pretty good company. Saquon Barkley, 2018. Yep. Adrian Peterson in 2007. Jeez. Kareem Hunt in 2017. Todd Gurley in 2015. And Devon Achane in 2023. That's it. That is list since the year 2000.
Jeez.
So he has been very good. Speaking of 2000, that's the last time the Browns had a rookie rush for 3 touchdowns in a game. That was Travis Prentice, October 8th in the year 2000. But here's one thing Just not a rain on the parade, but just a reality of the situation. This is per Pro Football Focus. Quinshon Judkins, 25 carries for 84 yards, 95 yards after contact. 95. That means on average, he is getting hit behind the line of scrimmage. What was a little troubling about that to me, Hoff, and I realize you're telegraphing that you're running the football, is a lot of this happened with one or even two extra linemen on the field. I mean, we did that all day long. How do we get that push to move the line of scrimmage? Because it felt like the few times that he got to get to the line of scrimmage, we hit big runs.
Well, you were going against a pretty poor run defense in a game where everybody knew that you were probably going to run the ball. I mean, it was windy. It probably wasn't as bad of condition-wise as they were saying it was going to be. But, really when you're getting hit behind the line of scrimmage, it's even less about push, and it's more about guys missing an assignment, guys not getting their helmet in the right spot and allowing penetration at the point of attack or where the running back is trying to cut back in a zone play. And I think one of the things that Quinshon Judkins does really, really well is he runs the duo play, right? Which is just that downhill double team. There's no pullers. Everybody's double teaming at the line of scrimmage, and then he finds a hole. And he's run that extremely well. He's hit some big runs. He's able to bounce that out to get one-on-one looks against the cornerbacks. But they just need to be better with being technically sound on their double teams at the point of attack. Because the great part about running the duo play, it was one of my favorites, is you have plenty of time. You don't have to jump off and get up to a linebacker quick like when you're running outside zone or even inside zone or sometimes on your pin pull concepts, because the running back makes you right in that rushing concept. All you need to do is focus on a good hip-to-hip fit with your double teams up front. Get four eyes on your two guys, the defensive tackle, and then that linebacker that you're working to, and then just move that guy slowly down the field. Move him, back him up, and then your running back will start in one gap. It'll bring that linebacker down, and then whoop, he can bounce to the other gap, it's what Judkins does the best, right? He's got the lateral movement, the jump cut. That's his best arsenal. That's his best tool in his tool belt. And so I think that's something that they really want to focus on this week as they're practicing, because it's going to be such an important part, not only for Judkins, but for us as a line, because it's something that's very easy to do. And it's just a matter of being technically sound and getting the proper fits on that offensive line to comfortably be able to have patience and move those defensive linemen off the line of scrimmage.
And then, Hoff, the next thing that the evolution here, you hope, is that you were able to hit something big. And I understand the conditions were what the conditions were. I mean, it was rainy, it was windy, it was those type of things. And Gabriel's really efficient. 13 of 18 in this game, 116, no touchdowns, no picks. Didn't turn it over, stayed within himself. 3 straight games with that. But we have to, if we're going to beat teams that aren't in disarray like Miami is, we have to at least have something down the field to make defenses have to think about. And that, too, will open up the run game if you can do that. Do you see plays out there that could be had or at least attempted explosively down the field in the passing game, or is that something that can evolve? What do you make of where it is right now?
Well, I think it's pretty clear that with a young quarterback that doesn't feel very comfortable throwing from in the pocket, especially down the field, due to the confidence factor, due to the fact that he doesn't have a massive arm and that he's not a very tall quarterback, I think it has to come off of play action. It has to come off of some of those boot concepts. Some of them you're going to boot him, keep him on the run. Some of them you're going to start booting, and then he's going to pull up, and then you have those extra blockers, and it's really just kind of a two-man route. But I think as Quinshon Judkins continues to exploit defenses through the run game and become an even bigger weapon and a guy that the defenses are going to continue to game plan everything they have against him, you have to start calling a few more of those play action shots just to scare a defense, get them to back up a little bit, and then tell Dylan, like, hey, I realize we are praising you for doing a great job at taking care of the football. And let's be honest, the reason we won that game against the Miami Dolphins yesterday was because we took the football away and we didn't turn the ball over on offense. That was the reason we scored the points. I mean, we scored a pick six. We got a turnover on a kickoff that gave us amazing field position, allowing us to go right into the end zone on a short field. So yes, that's really important, but in the long run, we have to push the ball down the field. So I'm sure that Kevin's in meetings this week, and as they're game planning, getting ready for next Sunday's game, they're saying, look, it's great to take care of the ball, but we need to have some calculated risk here within our play action passing game where you just let it rip. It's either our guy or nobody. We've got enough guys that got speed on the outside that we're going to set it up on this play. It's going to maybe shift in formation to look like a different run. We're going to have great run action up front, but you just got to let it rip because we need to start hitting some explosive plays in the passing game.
Now, after you hit those explosives, you get down near the goal line. If they don't get in there, I got to tell you, I absolutely loved what we did at the goal line. Let's just go 11 on 11. It wasn't even Wildcat. Quarterback wasn't even on the field. I don't know what you call that. It was basically like
direct snap.
And we're running.
Single
we're running.
wing.
Now, obviously, we're going to have at some point this year, it feels like logic would dictate that you're going to have a pass out of this at some point. But it works. It worked really well. I thought we heard they put that in on Thursday night when they knew about the weather. I think this should be a permanent part of our short yardage package. I don't see any reason for it not to be. What do you think of it, Hoff, and what advantage does it give the offense when there isn't a wasted player out there?
Well, Kevin Stefanski's clearly a big fan of CBD because we broke it down extensively last week and talked about, when you're down there and you don't have a quarterback that has a great deal of confidence and experience running all the short little concepts and reading either one side or the other side and making quick decisions, 1 to 2, inside to outside, outside to inside, vice versa. And if you don't have that, let's just ride the horse that brought us down here all the way and give him the football. And you know what? Everybody knows it anyway. So you might as well just make it old school single wing, snap him the football. He's good enough to be able to get in there even when everybody knows that he's getting the football. We've got 3 really good interior blockers that can create movement, create little spaces and gaps and angles. And Quinshon is really good at finding those cracks and running the crack. That's the important key when you're talking and you're coaching. How do you run short yardage and goal line looks? For a running back, it's all about not seeing a big hole, not trying to bounce it outside. Find those little cracks where your offensive linemen have momentum. They're moving in a certain direction and then ride the wave through that crack into the end zone. He does a great job, as good as anybody I've ever seen. So let's just keep doing that until they stop it. And of course, you have to have in your repertoire a couple passes, a couple little wrinkles off of that. But I think it gives us the best chance of success when we get down there, and it's a lot of fun, and you're rewarding the dude that's taking the big hits, and you're exciting everybody, including your offensive line there. And I think that's your identity. We talked a lot about identity last week. And if you embrace that and just say, hey, try to stop us, I think that has always been historically your best bet in short yardage and goal line. If you look at all the teams that have been great, if you've studied it for the last 20 years, teams that are great in short yardage and goal line, they have a very small package, and by and large, they run the same play. Like, we know all about the tush push in Philadelphia right now. Before them, it was the New England Patriots quarterback sneak with Tom Brady, right? When it was short yardage. Before he was a master at quarterback sneaks, all they would run is outside zone. And you just get really good at it on the offensive line. The team you're going against, they practice against it that week, but they don't have as much experience doing it as the team on offense that's doing it every single week. And make them try to stop it, right? And embrace that identity, because I think for this team, now they're sort of looking in the playoff picture, and I'm sure there's guys that are trying to talk themselves into maximum excitement, enthusiasm, and focus moving forward, saying, hey, we're not out of this just yet. But you know what? You got to build that identity. You got to embrace who you are. We're a team that wants to run the ball and play great defense.
You hit on it there too. It's got to embolden the offensive line. Like, I'm sure Bitonio hears that and he's like, yeah, follow me to freedom. Just follow 75.
Let's go.
There's some juice. You can sense it.
It was a pull in Joel Bitonio that had the big block on the long touchdown.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
There's something to that, isn't it, Hoff? Like, just trust your big boys up front to do their jobs.
Yeah, and I think it's so important when you're in a season that's not going the way you had hoped. You want to find little victories that you can celebrate and build that morale within each unit, right? And so when you're running the ball and you got big old Joel Bitonio there setting the franchise record since 99 with the most starts, and everybody loves him. He's a leader. Like, getting that guy some great blocks, getting Quinshon in the end zone, like rewarding the guys that are doing it the right way, that has a way to build morale and give people something to be excited about and to work for, even if the season or a certain game is not going the way you want, so that you're continuing to build identity and build a a belief in who you are and an excitement that is so important for a lot of guys, especially the young guys, right? Because maybe they haven't learned yet that you have to be a professional, whether you're 0-16 or you're 16-0. You got to be able to treat every game the same way. That's not easy for a lot of guys, especially coming from college. If you were in a great program and you're not used to losing at all, and then every week you get this belief that you're going to win and then you don't win, it's like your mind is kind of wondering, do I believe in the game plan? Do I believe in the coaches? Do I trust what we're doing? And that's a waste of your energy, right? But if you narrow it down and you help continue to get those guys to focus on the smaller things that you can get excited about, like giving Quinshon the ball when he's close to the goal line, getting Joel Bitonio out there blocking and knocking guys out of the way, and then you can celebrate those little wins, and you're not so much looking at your record or the scoreboard. That's how you continue to give great effort and get the most out of guys and continue to improve during a season that feels like it's not going the way you want.
Well, you got a big victory, and it was, as we talked about, you had a special teams made plays. Andre Schmidt made all of his kicks in very difficult conditions. Delpit got the ball out. You turned that into points. I think we had 4 takeaways, 21 points off of those takeaways. This defense, they've been asking to play with a lead. They got to play with a lead. They were awesome. 4 sacks. What did you see from Jim Schwartz? It felt a little different to me. It felt like Miles was moved around more. We had a lot more blitzes to kind of disrupt the rhythm, a very rhythmic offense. And I thought just an incredible plan. What did you see from our defense, just from scheme-wise, and then obviously the great execution?
I thought obviously scheme and execution were awesome. The defense was pivotal in this victory with their takeaways. And I can tell that Jim Schwartz is becoming annoyed with the conversation every week about, why your defense is so great, but why can't you take the football away? And so taking those calculated risks on defense is always so important. And knowing the quarterback you're going against, knowing the little tendencies that he has in certain situations to throw the ball in certain areas, out of certain formations, like those are the differences between a good defensive coordinator and a great defensive coordinator. Opening up your guys, taking the leash off in certain situations and saying, you know what, if they throw the ball over your head and we have to tackle them 30 yards down the field, it's okay because we want you to jump this route when you get this look. We feel very confident that's where the ball is going to go. And I love that, right? Because now you make their quarterback Tua start to think and question what he's doing as you start picking him off, as you start getting close to interceptions because you're jumping some of those routes that he feels confident in. And I think it was just a classic blueprint for success for a Jim Schwartz defense, right? He's moving guys around. He's giving Miles looks at different guys that he likes in certain situations on third down. So he has great matchups. And it really, I think, uncoupled the rest of the defense. I thought Mason Graham probably played the best game of his pro career, making a lot of impact plays with his penetration and disrupting what the offensive line wanted to do. So I think in general, you make those turnovers, you get those sacks, you start moving guys around, you do things that are a little bit out of what the ordinary is that you have been doing. And that builds the excitement too, right? And I think we talked a lot about it last week, right? How do you find motivation and excitement within a team that feels like you're underachieving compared to where you thought you would be? You got to build those little victories in and build little excitement for the players with different packages, different plays. And I thought the coaching staff, hats off to those guys because they did that. They built that into the scheme. They took weather into consideration, but they also were able to uncouple and unlock some of the talents of the guys that we have out here to allow them to make play. And then when they make those plays, they get excited with each other. And I think it was a humongous win for the morale of the team and for the morale of the fan base to just say, you know what, that was fun watching our Cleveland Browns there on Sunday.
Certainly was, man. I mean, there's so much value in getting a win on a Sunday and just feeling good about yourself for a Monday and through the rest of the week. Time for a Trench Report brought to you by Big Fig, the mattress made for more, crafted in Cleveland, just like our Browns. Let's focus on the big positive on Sunday, the play of one of them, certainly our defensive line. Hoff, 1 sack, 3 quarterback hits, 6 tackles for loss, 1 pass defense. That goes to Mason Graham, as you mentioned. Miles with a sack, 2 quarterback hits, 2 tackles for loss. They just ate, and they've been eating a lot all year, but this is one of those instances, and Miles had bemoaned this, like, what happens if we get to play with the lead, and you see what happens when you do.
Yeah, that's always been the frustrating thing when I was playing and we were struggling. It's like, Well, when we play behind all the time and we just sit back and the quarterback's throwing the ball 50 times, it makes our job so much more difficult, right? When it's a close game and the defense has to respect the run, it's so much easier for us. And it's the same thing with the defensive line. Like, it's really difficult, one, to make impact plays when you're playing from behind because the other team is not going to take any chances. The quarterback's not going to hang on to the football at all. They're not going to push the ball down the field. They're probably going to just run the ball. And it's the same thing too, from a morale standpoint. Like, defense is much harder because they always have, all 11 guys have to run to the football every play. So they get more exhausted. They have to play harder and faster all the time. And it's difficult to keep that level without having exciting plays and making turnovers on defense. So it was so important to me to see the defense eat the way they did, to kind of continue to give them that energy and that reason, that little bone for them to play at their maximum capacity with critical effort in every single situation. Because I think that's the first thing in a lost season that goes, is the effort from the defense.
Well, I'm glad. Listen, let's keep it going. Let's keep getting that success and having a little bit of fun with it. Overall, Hoff, one of the things that jumped out in this one was the new addition, Tyson Campbell. I thought he had 2 monster plays. Number one, they didn't complete a single pass in his direction, but when he ran down Devon Achane, that was absolutely an attention getter to me because he moved at a different speed than anybody on the field. I think he hit 21 miles an hour on that one, which is cooking. I can only do that in an automobile. I can't even do that on one of those high-powered scooters, hit 21 miles an hour. And then the pick six, the tightrope walk, and then get in the end zone. What a time for, what a way to make an impression, obviously, on your new team and in front of the fans.
Yeah, it's huge, right? He's a new face. He wants to make a positive impression, and to be able to do it in the way he did on Sunday was great. You feel really happy for the player because now he's going to exert a little more confidence, right? And you hope that kind of snowballs into more big plays for them because he showed his speed, right? And we got a guy out there on the outside that when he gets the football in his hands, he's dangerous. He could take it to the house. And I think that'll embolden him and his coordinators to maybe try to dial up a few more opportunities with trap corners and things of that nature where he's got a chance to make a game-changing play on the outside. And you love that when you bring in a new guy to kind of allow the fans to get to know him a little bit and kind of embrace him as a member of the Cleveland Browns. And I think then all of a sudden it becomes a yin and a yang where he's starting to give to the fans are giving to him. And, it's how you kind of continue to snowball and create a great career.
All right, Hoff, before we get into game balls and all that kind of fun, I have to ask, did you get a chance to watch any of the Rams and the Jags?
I watched the second half of that game. It was already kind of out of hand.
Okay, but there was a play in the second half. I think the Rams had a 4th and 5, and they did a hard count, and they drew the Jags offsides, and the left guard hit the Jags player to get it, and then gave what I consider to be one of the all-time offensive line celebrations. Have you seen this?
No,
you know what
I
I'm
didn't
talking
see
about?
this. No, I got to pull it up.
All right, I just tagged you in a tweet with it.
All right, great.
You'll be able to see it. But basically, they get the hard count. He hits the guy. It's the left guard. I'm pretty sure he's wearing 73, which would no doubt be an homage to you. And he comes in and does a great kick of the heels and
it's a great celebration.
It's unbelievable. I remember watching this live, and I just started cracking up. So I thought it was pure joy. I don't know if you're going to get a chance. Let us know.
Oh, yeah, I'm watching it right now.
Okay, here it comes.
Oh, yes. Oh, it's like the leprechaun. I mean, you can't plan that because you have no idea that the guy's going to jump across from you, I guess, other than being 4th and 5 and you're hard counting, and everybody in the stadium knows that as well, except for the bozo that's standing across from you. But I love the leprechaun click of the heels, showing some great athleticism, jumping up in the air, and then the double-handed first down. I mean, there are very few things that offensive linemen can get excited about in the course of a game, but right there, boom, that is exactly
joy
what
on his face.
He's so happy.
I figured you would get a kick out of that.
That's
of all
great.
people.
Well, we're having offensive linemen are having more fun they've ever had. I don't know if you guys have seen Caden Proctor, who's probably going to be a first-round pick in the NFL draft at Alabama. They run him in short yardage tailback.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
And he puts it in the paint.
Yeah, he's on like outside zone.
Outside zone.
He's like the fridge.
Except he's
on the offense and he's going
running
wide.
outside.
Didn't they do something, not a run, but they threw a ball to Penei Sewell once.
They threw it to him too. They threw it to Caden Proctor this 2 weeks ago. They threw it to him like a receiver screen.
I like the sound of this guy.
Yeah, it's offensive line renaissance, Hoff.
Yeah.
I love it. I don't know if you guys watched the Denver game, but their left tackle was eligible. And he got an opportunity to get the football. He didn't catch it, but he made a very athletic play to try to give a diving one-handed catch in the end zone. So, yeah, we're having a renaissance. We're people, too, just like kickers.
All right, guys. Game balls. Let's start on the offensive side. Hoff, we'll start with you. Who gets your game ball offensively?
I mean, thanks for letting me go first. Obviously, it's Quinshon Judkins, 25 carries, 84 yards, 3 touchdowns, hitting some big, deep runs, showing off the speed, and then being able to do the dirty work between the tackles in the short yardage goal line situation. I mean, he is turning out to be one of the steals of this last draft class.
I'm going to give my game ball to Joel Bitonio for his
That's right.
168th start as a Cleveland Brown, which is the most by any Brown since 1999, and one more than our esteemed guest.
That's fantastic. All right. Game balls defense. Z, you're first.
I'm going to give it to Grant Delpit because, number one, I love Grant Delpit. Number two, forced fumble on special teams, gets a sack. His pressure leads to the easiest interception of Quinshon Judkins' career.
Yeah.
Because he basically throws it right to him. So I'm going to give Grant Delpit just the way how hard he has played. I think he's playing it at an elite level, Pro Bowl level, maybe even all pro level, but loved what I've seen from him.
Yeah, I love the Grant Delpit pick. That's actually who I was going to pick. But I think one thing, I'll just piggyback real quick, and then I'll give it to Miles because he deserves it as well. But he's become a tone setter out there on defense.
Yep.
And, Miles is a guy that obviously makes amazing amount of plays, and he's a leader in that locker room. But I wouldn't say he's always a tone setter. And I think it's important to have that guy on defense who talks about what we can be. And he talks about, the greatness of within every single player and what you can do and the leadership that he brings. And I think he's backing it up with his play now, with consistency in that tackling department and the coverage department. And I think having somebody in the back end at safety is such an important part of building a great defense. When you look at all the great defenses over my lifetime, especially going back when I was in the NFL, you think about Ed Reed being there in Baltimore and Troy Polamalu being there in Pittsburgh. Like, you got to have that guy on defense who is a difference maker at the safety position, who's consistent, he's reliable, he's a leader vocally, he's positive. But then he's also a great communicator amongst the secondary so that everybody is on their assignments. They know where they're passing off things in the zone. And he's a guy he's fun, right? He's fun for the fans to cheer for. And we got to have that in a season right now where we're feeling a lot better about where we are, but we're still 2-5. And you want to have that guy who's coming into his own and continues to build towards being an all-pro level talent. And I'll give my game ball to Myles Garrett. 1 sack, 2 QB hits, 2 TFLs, and he was in the backfield all day. And finally had a game where he could rush with the lead and become more of a difference maker than he is when it's a game where you're playing from behind all the time.
And I'll give honorable mention Ronnie Hickman and Tyson Campbell.
Yeah, I think Kevin maybe got it right, too, with Schwartz, because anytime you get a shirtless coordinator, that wins.
That was unbelievable.
That's just spectacular.
And he dropped his bench press, and they say benches 300.
Oh, man.
I'd like to see it. I'd like
mode.
to see that.
Yeah.
I'd like to see
It's so great.
Yeah.
I mean, it just was good. And it's just, sometimes we get so macro when we talk about teams. We talk about big picture and what's going to happen a year from now and what's going to be this. And the reality is that sometimes just a Sunday win is nice for everybody, and it was long overdue around here. The task this week will be a big one. This New England team is a little bit of a wagon right now. Got a slow start on Sunday in their game against Tennessee, and then they just overwhelmed them. Drake May's throwing it all over the place for this team as well, and Mike Vrabel, who was here all of last year, Hoff. The job he's done so far in New England, and how many times have you even, if ever, have you crossed paths with Mike?
Yeah, I know Vrabel pretty well. I actually played against him in New England when I was a rookie, and then in Kansas City. Got to drink a few Mai Tais and beers with him at Pro Bowls past out there in Hawaii. He's a great dude, good man to have a beer with, as you would expect. And he's really done a great job carrying who he was as a player on the field to who he has become as a coach. Dan Campbell has gotten a lot of credit, rightly so, for the type of coach that he is. And most people don't even know what type of player he was, but he was a wild man when he was playing. He used to have this long hair, played for the Lions, and he'd throw his body all over the place and, playing with reckless abandon. And that's the type of energy that he brings to his team, in the same way that Mike Vrabel's bringing to the New England Patriots. But on top of that, he brings a discipline, a toughness, an accountability that you'd want your head coach to be, no matter who he is. And so I'm happy for him, although I hate the Patriots. So I can't really exactly be excited for him. I'm happy for him because he's always done it the right way. And it's easy to cheer for men that have done it the right way and have continued to have success, especially when I think they were wrongly convicted in Tennessee.
Yeah.
They're getting ousted there. That seemed, in hindsight, especially like a pretty shaky maneuver there by the Tennessee Titans.
I read something today that said they had offers teams were willing to trade for Vrabel, so they could have gotten assets, and they just didn't even want to do the paperwork.
You want to do it? Yeah.
What are we talking
What
about?
are you doing?
That's madness.
Yeah.
Craziness.
Yeah, that was a little hostile on the home crowd yesterday down in Nashville, to say the least.
To say the least.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed it was.
We have not beaten New England in New England since 1992. Belichick was here the last time that happened.
Well, we've gone twice in my time here, and I've seen us lose, and then I watched us lose on TV when I was out with COVID, which turns out that trip I was happy to not make that one. That one got away from us real quick.
Yeah, they're up and coming. I mean, they might win that division right now the way that it's they're off to a great start and have played some really good football. So that'll be a fun one this week. We'll worry about that as the week goes along. Hoff, great seeing you as always.
The best.
The very best.
Great to see you guys. Thanks for having me on this beautiful Victory Monday. The Hoff Beef Victory Monday.
Oh, the Hoff
I
beef.
wore the wrong hat,
Oh,
too.
I like
Dang
that.
it, where's my hat? Oh, no.
Where's the Hoff beef?
Mom,
Here it is. We
Mom,
got it.
Where's
We got
the beef? There it
Mom,
is. The
there it
Victory
is.
Monday hat. I love it. I love it.
We're ready.
Yes.
We're ready.
We're ready.
Yeah, baby.
Beautiful.
Yeah, baby.
All right,
there
guys.
it
Thanks
is.
for having me on.
There you go, the Joe Thomas half hour of the program, and there you go, Cleveland Browns Daily. We are back tomorrow. Thanks for listening, everybody. CBD 850 ESPN Cleveland.